Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2020. We again find ourselves in the final hour of the trading day. I mention this each day, but in my opinion, the best time of the day to make your buying and selling decisions is in the last hour of the market, and particularly in the last few minutes of the market. During the day, you have the day traders, you have the algorithms, they're controlling the price. I consider it mainly noise. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in. They come in with size, a lot of data, the best technology, very smart people, and they take control away. They take the control of the pricing away. They move the prices at the end of the day to what, in my opinion, are the most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions from. So I like to piggyback essentially on the back of large financial institutions making decisions at the end of the day. That being said, I have had some day trades over the past few weeks, worked out quite well. I do have one here to show you today. Actually, Zach sent me an email today asking me, do these setups work intraday? And I said, yes, they do. I believe that the longer the time frame, the stronger the indicator is, and that is because in my opinion, the reason technicals work is because you have lots and lots of people looking at the same indicator, coming in, buying, kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So there are definitely more people looking at the 200-day on Apple on the daily than there are the 200 5-minute chart. Right. But that being said, I want to thank Zach for sending me that question because I actually was looking intraday. I found a nice crossover, 520 crossover that works great on Apple in the daytime, but it happened on the 5-minute chart and I decided to take it and it worked out really well, and I'll show you. But I probably would not have done that unless Zach had mentioned that to me. So thanks, Zach. Appreciate that, buddy. So, okay, well, just your another standard garden variety of the Dow being up 800 or 900 points. Fortunately, today the Dow was up 882 points. It's up 3.4%. NASDAQ is up 2.71%, and the S&P is up over 3%, 3.08. So another big, huge day. Boy, when the markets settle down and go back into being up 100 or 200 points, it's going to seem like we're going 5 miles an hour on the freeway. Almost getting used to this now. So, you know how I've had a guest a couple times on the show, and the guest was my heating and air guy? So last night, right before I went to bed, I went, I'm really cold. And I went and I looked at the thermostat, and the thermostat looked like it was working fine, but the heater was not on at all. Like, I couldn't get it to go on at all with the thermostat. Like, sometimes it will go through its cycle, but it won't work for whatever reason. That was the issue I had last time. This time, no furnace whatsoever right before I went to bed, and it's cold. So I put on a couple jackets, I put on a couple beanies and a hoodie, and jumped under my covers and thought, man, I hope I'm not going to freeze. But I did sleep pretty well, but it is cold in here. So if you saw me right now, I have the 2 jackets on, the beanies, the hoodie, some big thick socks, and the heating and air guy supposedly is going to be here probably right in the middle of this podcast. So I may have to get up, answer the door. So forgive me for that. But as I've mentioned before, people that work on my house, I don't know, it's a strange thing that they always come right during the podcast. Have you noticed that? So anyway, that's my little story here today. So Evan is here. Excuse me. Good to see you, Evan. Zach, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for that email, and it led to a nice trade. Kamal, hello, sir. Kamal and I had a really nice talk last night, and we talked a lot about trader psychology, and I'll be kind of filling you in on some things today that we talked about. But good to see you, Kamal. Muhammad is here. Hello, Greg. Hello, hi, fellow traders. Hello, Muhammad. Nice to see you, sir. Always nice to have you here. Marco, good afternoon, Greg and all. Good afternoon to you, Marco. Hope you're having a good evening in Slovenia. Zach, LOL, glad it worked out for you. Yeah, me too. I'll show you here in a minute. Christopher Hitchin, good to see you, sir. Appreciate you being here from the UK. Hope you're having a nice night. Joe Turner, hello, Joe. Good to see you. I just posted your poem from yesterday, just a couple, 10 minutes ago. Quad Racer, 1992. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you, Quad. Nice to have you here. Christopher says car sales down 92% in January in China. Shows what the impact of the coronavirus is having. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, the whole place is shut down. Deanne, hello. Oh, she's got her little mask on her smiley face. That's great. Good to see you. Oh, hope I'm not losing my voice. Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Frank says, hello, Greg and group. Okay, here we go. Here's a poem. Why buy a ticket on a train that's derailed or set up a trade that's likely to fail? Wait for the train to get back on its track. Be patient and wait till the market comes back. Bravo, Frank. Thank you, sir. That's really good. And as always, I'd like to keep that, post that, because these are gems. These are just gems. Why buy a ticket on a train that's derailed or set up a trade that's likely to fail? Wait for the train to get back on its track. Be patient and wait till the market comes back. So good. Hey, Steve Burns. Good to see you, my friend. Steve says, hey, Greg, what a rally. Yes, it is. Nice to have you here, Steve. Always appreciate you being here. Always an honor and a privilege to have someone like you in our chat. I'm always excited to have you here. I know everyone else is. I mean, it's a real treat to have you here and actually be able to ask you questions and so forth. Appreciate that, Steve. Joe says, okay, this is a poem. Here we go. Here's Joe's poem. We study the charts and don't have much to say. We wonder if tomorrow will be a better day. These numbers are the wrong color. If you know what I mean, there's a bunch of red and a few that are green. Oh, bravo. Bravo. You and Frank have like dance-offs, but you have poem-offs, and you're both just fantastic. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Thank you, Frank. Hey, Glenn, good to see you. Appreciate being here. Joe Turner, nice one, Frank. I agree. Steve Byrne, this market is bipolar. If you don't get 1,000-point move, you can wait a day and get a retracement in the other direction. 100%. I'd like to see the market settle down a little bit. This huge volatility up and down is you never quite know, do you? Okay. Gamer says, hi, Greg and all. Hello, Dave. Nice to have you here, sir. Frank says, thanks, Joe. Same to you. Hey, Dan. Good to see you. Always nice to see Dan. Okay. Well, and Joshua Kaufman. Hey, Greg. Nice work on the poems, fellas. Man, I agree. I'd love to talk to you guys and know what the process is of coming up with poems. I mean, do you have to think about it for like 9 hours like I would and then hack your way into like, I wouldn't even know how to do it. I honestly would not know how to do it. So you two have a gift for that. Good to see you, Joshua. So here's the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them forward. After that, we're going to take a look at a few positions that you've shared with me. And it seems like everyone's doing pretty well today. After that, going to spend a few minutes on trader psychology. And Kamal and I discussed trader psychology, and we really got into the weeds on it last night. And it's very important, everybody, to follow your plan. And to follow your plan, you have to have discipline. And sometimes, I always discuss different psychology posts that people have on Facebook and Twitter. And I do it because, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes it takes me like 100 times to get something through my head. So I guess I assume everyone else is, although you're all probably smarter than that and you hear it once and you actually get it, unlike me. So that's why I repeat it every day. But, sometimes you might hear it and listen to it, but are you really hearing it, right? And so I like to talk about trader psychology. One day, you may hear something that I say that maybe will lock in with you, sink in with you, and you go, oh yeah, that does make sense. But like I said, Kamal and I really got into the weeds last night in really in depth in trader psychology and why it's so important. And trading is really, it's not that hard. It's pretty easy, but the difficult part is, having the discipline to keep your fingers off the keyboard, to take the trades you don't want to take, to not take the trades you do want to take, to pause before each trade and really ask yourself, do I really need to take this? Do I have another stock that's in this same industry? Do I have too many positions as is right now? There's a lot of emotions in with this volatility here, and just want to make sure, before you hit that button, always think it through. Say to yourself, do I really need this trade? Try to talk yourself out of it. And if you can't talk yourself out of it, okay, then it's maybe a good, decent trade. So we're going to spend a few minutes on trader psychology. After that, I've already, before the show started, I already went through my watch list. There are a few possible new entries for me today. Before I take a new entry, I have 3 requirements. First requirement is I need to see a combination or a confluence of indicators lining up. I look at indicators like MACD and RSI, moving averages. I look at those indicators as groups of buyers, and you will put yourself in a much better position and have a much better chance to have a profitable trade if you're in the company of as many other buyers as possible. So if one indicator represents one group of buyers and another indicator represents another group of buyers, then if those two come together at the same time on your chart, then I look at that as 2 groups of buyers, and you have a better chance of having a profit if you're with 2 groups of buyers than if you're with 1 group of buyers. So I like to look for a confluence, a combination of indicators, or another way to say I like to look for a confluence or combination of different groups of buyers coming in together. So that's step 1. Step 2, I want to make sure that I have a good risk to reward ratio. I might have great indicators lining up or groups of buyers lining up, but if it's outside of my trading plan, if it's too high for whatever reason in the channel, or there's big moving averages right above it, I may decide and not take the trade, even though the setup's there, but the risk to reward doesn't make sense. So I like to make a minimum, have a good chance of making 2 times to the upside compared to what I'm risking. So if I'm risking $100, I want to be able to make $200 to the upside, but with legitimate resistance. It can't be something way up at the top of the chart that has no chance to get there, right? So that's step 2, good risk to reward. Step 3, very important, especially in this market when things are, all signaling and going off at one time. I don't want to have too much correlation of the same type of industries. And in addition, I want to be aware that I don't have too much account heat. And what I mean by account heat is the maximum account heat I will take is 60% of my total capital. I don't care if all of the stocks are completely uncorrelated, 60% is my max, and I'm rarely there, right? So Kamal and I talked about last night, a good kind of rule of thumb for me is I'm not going to take 2 technology stocks on the same day, right? I'm allowed to have 2 technology stocks if I entered them on separate days, but that's my max there. So I can't take 2 on one day, but I can have 2 if I have them in different, entered them on different days. But that's my max. I'm not going to have 3 energy stocks, 3 technology stocks, and 3 healthcare stocks. It makes no sense. You're just doubling and tripling up on the same industry. So always very important to keep that in mind as far as, what is my account heat? Am I too correlated? Always good to have different types of industries, even go outside of equities like bonds and oil, gold, silver, something like that. So anyway, I have gone through the chart. I have looked for possible setups that meet all 3 of those criteria. I have marked those, and we'll go through that at the end of the day. Then, if they trigger at the end of the day, I'll go ahead and enter new position. Then after the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. I'm happy to clarify. If you'd like me to take a look at any stock symbols, I'm happy to do that as well. If you'd like me to take a look at a stock symbol before the market closes. If it's time sensitive, if you'd like my opinion on it before the market closes, go ahead, put it in the chat. I'll do my very best to get to it. But please, please, please put an asterisk by it so I know that it's time sensitive. Sometimes I run out of time, right? I want to get to everyone, but I'd rather get to the ones that are priority, that are time sensitive first. And then if I don't get to the other ones, I'll get to those after the market closes. So anyway, hope that makes sense. So that's the plan for today. So if you could, please hold tight. Where did my mouse go? Here we go. Please hold tight, and I'll be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Okay. Hey, Bing He, good to see you, my friend. Bing He's having a nice trade today on XHB. I'll get to that in a minute. Bing He said, took very small profit on XHB. Grateful for that. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're grateful for that. We should always be grateful anytime the market goes our way, right? Always good to keep a good attitude about trading. Bing He says, Coca-Cola has 10 EMA, 50 EMA. Does it backtest well? Let's take a look. Well, luckily I have this right here, huh? This is ETF replay. This is where I do my back testing. Really like this platform. It's web-based. Let's take a look. 1050 EMA cross. Oops. Exponential. Right? Yeah, EMA. Let's test it out. Oh, goodness. 1050 EMA. Doesn't look like it backtests very well, Bing He. Good thing we checked. Buy and hold 215.2, but the crossover only a negative 1.9%. And this is one of the few backtests I've ever seen where the 1050 EMA crossover over under approach does worse drawdown than this. So kind of what it says to me, it's much more of a mean reverting type stop. I don't know if that's true. That's just kind of what I'm feeling at the moment when I say that, but that does not look like it backtests very well. Joe, it's tricky to bust a rhyme that's right on time. Perfect. Hey, Mount Doji, good to see you, buddy. Nice to have you here, sir, as always. All right, well, let's get to it. Oh, we're starting off the world famous SPY trade. I know you guys probably and girls get annoyed, but in case we have a new viewer or two today, I really want to make sure that I explain why I do buy the SPY every day at the close of the market. This is a long-term back-tested study from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. She's the chief financial officer at Charles Schwab. This backtest, two options here with this backtest, and they tested both options every day since 1993. First option, buy the SPY at the open in the morning, sell it at the close in the afternoon every day. So buy the open, sell the close, buy the open, sell the close. If you would have used this approach every day with the SPY since 1993, you've actually returned a negative 13.9% for all your work, all your troubles, all your button pushing. However, now they tested the second approach, is what I use, which is what Steve Byrne uses. Buy the SPY at the close in the afternoon each day, and then sell it at the open first thing the next morning. So the first one's buy at the open, sell the close. This one, which Steve and I use, is buy the close, sell the next open. If you did this from every day, you would have had a return of a positive 634.2% return. past performance is no guarantee of future results. That is true, but if I'm going to allocate capital towards something, put money at risk, I want to put it towards something that has a good backtrack, a good back-tested record, good results, than something that doesn't. So the blue line's the buy in the afternoon, sell in the morning. Here's the equity curve, up and down, but over time it has gone up and done very well. Orange line is the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon, has not done so great. So with that being said, that is why I do buy the SPY. This has been a difficult year so far. Honestly, this has been a very difficult year using this approach. 2019 worked very, very well. But the last few days worked out pretty good, actually. We've had 3 in a row, but this was a big one. This was a monster. I bought yesterday here at $324, sold it today at $306.11. So, you know, almost $6 overnight. Now, to be fair, I've had that and worse in the last couple of weeks here, but the last 3 days have been buy the open, sell the close for a little gain. Yesterday, buy the open, sell the close for a little gain, but this one here was a monster. So I'm very, very thankful for that, just to be able to buy that. Sold that first thing this morning. It's higher than when I sold it, but you don't hear me complaining, making 6 points overnight. So anyway, I will be buying this again today. Deanne says, Greg, when you say you place most of your trades during the last hour of the market, is there a best time during that hour place to trade? Yes, as close as you can get to the close. You know, ideally in the last 3 seconds, but sometimes you don't want to wait that long because, you know, maybe you don't have enough time to actually make your trade. But, you know, in the last minute, but yes, as close as you can get to the close, in my opinion, are the best prices. Okay, SSO. So this is kind of an interesting trade. Well, let me take you back here. A couple days ago, back on the 3rd, I did buy this with the close above the 200-day moving average, and I bought a full position. And when I say a full position, this is SSO. This is double leverage. So I actually took a half. If you're going to buy $100,000 worth of a trade, I would buy $50,000 worth of a trade because it's double leverage. So 50,000 would be the same as 100,000. So if the S&P moves 1%, the SSO is going to move 2%. It's 2 times leverage. So yesterday I did get stopped out. I had to sell, but yesterday we went under 30, over 30, giving me a new signal, but the signal happened under the 200. So I went from a half position to a quarter position because it was under the 200. A quarter position is really a half position because it's double leveraged. Hope that makes sense. So anyway, really nice trade here. I bought this at 129.60, hit 3 profit targets today. If we close above the 200-day moving average, and we also looks like we're going to close above the negative 3rd ATR channel. If this is the case, I'm going to go back in and double up my position again. I hope this isn't confusing, to a normal position, because now it's another trigger on top of the 200-day moving average. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. But again, I had a full position here, re-triggered here, but it was under the 200, so I sold half. Now we're back above the 200. Now I'm going to go back in with a regular full position, but because it's double leveraged, I'm only going to take half the amount in dollars than I normally would, but that's the same as taking the regular amount of dollars I would because it's double leveraged. But really glad that I decided to hang on to that second half there and the trigger yesterday was under the 30, over 30. So 2 conflicting signals. I had a stop with the close below the 200, but I had a new signal because it rejected the 30. So hope that makes sense. Up 6.79% today. So very, very happy with that. But keep in mind, I only had a quarter position. So it's not quite that. It's a quarter of that. But still, I'm very, very happy with it. Steve Burns says, the market is bipolar. If you don't, didn't I read this? If you don't like a 1,000-point move, you can wait a day and get a retracement in the other direction. I 100% agree, Steve. This is a crazy market. Problem is, I feel like I'm getting used to it. How about everyone else? Steve says, I was also looking at SSO today if the 200 break holds. Yep. So we'll see what happens. Okay, Apple, thanks to Zach, my friend Zach, said, Greg, can you take, does a break of the 200 work on a does the break of a 200 work on a 5-minute chart compared to a daily chart? And the answer is yes, but the honest answer is I don't think as well as the daily chart, because I think the more people that are looking at a particular chart, the better the results are going to be. But anyway, here's a 5-minute chart. Right after I wrote Zach back, do you see how we had the 5 EMA cross under the 20 EMA here? I said, if this closes back over, I'm going to take this 520 EMA, and I'll show Zach one way or the other how this works, but I am willing to put a trade on. So when this bar happened here, this 5-minute bar, the 5 crossed over the 20. I liked where it happened. Probably would not have taken it up here if it was like above the second ATR channel, but I like how we came down, we kind of consolidated and then got the trigger. So I did buy it here at 296.25. My stop would have been if we would have had a close below both the 5 and the 20 on a closing basis. You can see it went under both 1, 2, 3, 4 times, but it closed back over. If it had closed under, I would have just gone ahead and got out with a small loss or a small gain. So I bought it here at 296.25. Went all the way up here on this particular bar here. It went over 70, under 70, rejected the negative third ATR channel. So that was where I decided to get out. So it was a trade from 296.25 up to 299.65. So almost $3. And I had another, wait, am I doing that right? 296 to, yeah. Almost $3. So I did get out there. It continued to go up. I was like, okay. Then it came down. I was like, oh, I'm a genius. And then it went down more. And now it's back up. I was looking for another 520 cross under over here, but it just got here and kissed. It didn't go under or over. I thought about taking this V2. Here's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 2 washed out, day 1, day 3 closed above. I decided not to take it for a pretty dumb reason. I said if I take it, it's going to be confusing with the different entry lines, and so I didn't take it. Obviously, I wish I would have, but that's how it goes. So anyway, 3 nice trades today. Very happy with that. Very grateful. It's been a crazy market. Up and down, up and down. So I'm happy for what I have. Kamal says ISRG, if it closes above 50 RSI, rejection of the 100, stop loss below 10 SMA. Whew, kind of getting hot with all these clothes on in the fireplace. If it closes above the 50 RSI, yes, that would help. Rejection of the 100, stop below. Yeah. I mean, it's probably not a trade I would take, but I like where you're coming here from here, Kamal. I mean, you're just putting yourself in a good position for a good risk to reward ratio, right? If you're wrong and it closes below the 100, okay, you're out. If you're right, you might go up here and test these previous highs. So it does give a good risk to reward, but I agree with you. Closing over 50 would be good. If it rejected the 50 today, that wouldn't be so good. So yes, and if you decide to take that trade, let me know. Frank says, I just call it whiplash. That's right. Bing He says, Greg, when you backtest MA crossovers, do you consider the number of trades triggered with the testing period? How many trades is considered to be valid test? Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure I have an answer. I mean, I basically just go off of the test. I mean, something like Coke's going to have a lot of different data. This is from all the way back from 2000. So I don't know if I can quite give you an answer on that. How many trades on a crossover would be valid, because most of the trades I have, the stocks have been around for 101 days, 101 years. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe if Steve's out there, I don't know if Steve might have an opinion on that. All right, let's take a look at some current positions here. Glenn bought Amazon back here at 1898. He was anticipating that the 200-day would hold, and it did. Next day it went under, but then closed over. So that showed that it did have some support and moved up nicely for him. Yesterday was up big, and then of course we had the big, huge reversal down day. Today up 3%. So congratulations, Glenn. and keep us informed on what's going on with that trade. Nike, okay, so Bing, He, and Steve both bought Nike with the close under back over the 200, close under the negative third, back over the negative third. That's good. I think they bought it here roughly 92.66. Went up yesterday, but then we had the huge, big reversal bar down. But we're back up today, and looks like both of them are positive. And so congratulations to both of you on that for sure. And then XHB, look at Bing He. Look at this, everybody. He bought Home Builders. Now he's in Singapore, so it's hard for him to trade the market. So he liked the under 200, over 200. He bought it first thing the next morning here, I believe at 44.19. Went down intraday, tested the 200, and up today 4.18%. And he just said earlier that he has taken a little profit on that already. So, very nice, very nice. You know, I did want to show you something. Kamal and I had this discussion yesterday. You know how you hear me talk about buying higher lows? I like higher lows better than lower lows. Here's an example of the 200, right? Of the S&P. We went down below the 200, then we bounced up. People that were fortunate enough to have bought down here, they made a quick profit. So if it starts to falter here, they're probably getting out quickly, and that's what happened on yesterday's bar. However, now today we went, and it looks like we're going to close back above the 200. See how this is now a higher low? Lower lows tend to go up and fail. Higher lows, people that buy them are in it more for the long run, and so it has a chance of going up even easier because there's not any overhead resistance as much, because the people that bought down here, you don't have to worry about those people selling into you. They already did it on this bar. So, you know, if I had my choice between an under 200 straight back up over 200 compared to an under 200, over 200, down again, and then up again with a higher low, I would pick that. So I don't know if it's going to go up and have a sustained up move. I have no idea, but I definitely do like this this better. Okay. So listen, before we go over my watch list and before we take a look at the stocks that I think may have potential for new entry in the afternoon, I do want to talk about trader psychology. I mentioned each day. It's the most important skill you can learn in trading. It is important to be able to read charts, look at technicals, identify support, resistance, you know where to get in, know where to get out. These are all very important things to learn to become a trader, and also to be able to formulate a good trading plan that you can follow. But the problem is, you can be a great chartist, you can put together a great trading plan, but whether or not you can follow it or not, that's a whole different story, everyone. And that is the skill that you need to develop. In my opinion, that's the most important skill. So that's why I do like to look at Facebook. I like to look at Twitter. There's some really great channels out there that focus on trading psychology, good trading words of wisdom. They burn a lot of calories, make an effort every day to put this out for us. And these are gems. These are words of wisdom. You probably read them, but really read them, think about them, meditate on them, because these are golden words of wisdom about trading. One of my favorite is our friend Thomas Paine at Trader T Paine. Thomas Paine was a scientist, switched over to being a trader, but I believe brought a lot of his scientific approach into trading. So Thomas has some of the best sayings and trading phrases and words of wisdom out there. So please subscribe to his channel. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. So Thomas says, if you flip a coin, do you have any expectation of the result? Probably not, because it's 50-50. You don't feel dumb if you are wrong. Traders expect certain results for their trades, and therefore are emotionally vulnerable to the outcome. And isn't this true? I can't remember. I think I was talking with Andrew about it. Listen, I'm being 100% truthful here. When I take an overnight SPY trade, I really don't think to myself, ooh, this baby's going up. I don't even think about it. It's more like the 50-50 with a coin. Just like, I have no thoughts about it. And that is the correct mindset. Now, guilty as charged on some of the trades that I take, my normal setups, I do have a little bit of a bias and think they're going to go up, right? I shouldn't. I should have the exact same feeling of flipping a coin or the overnight SPY trade where I really have no bias. I'm like, could go up, could go down. I don't know. And that's how it should be with every trade, because if you start having biases, then you're going to be more likely not to follow your trade, hold on to a loser possibly when you shouldn't. And if you don't have any expectations for a trade, you're not really going to be disappointed. If you every day think, oh, this trade's going to be great, you're going to have a lot of disappointment. And that kind of wears on you too, right? That kind of wears on you too. So, try to be emotionally neutral. Like Mark Douglas says, identify a setup, identify the risk, put the trade on, pull the handle, or put on the trade. Something's going to happen. It's gonna work out for you, or it's not gonna work out for you, and don't burn a lot of emotional calories on it. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, fine. You position size correctly, identified your risk, right, and you just move on to the next trade. So I always look at trading of one trade of the next 1,000 trades, just like as a little money machine. If somebody said, hey, here's this little money machine and its program, over the long run it will make money if you don't mess with it, you probably better not to mess with it. And if you have a good, decent trading plan that encompasses technicals and account heat and position sizing and proper places to take entries and proper places to get out of entries, specifically keeping your losses small and letting your winners run, it's like a little money machine. But if you get in and mess with the machine, that's where things can go wrong. So again, if you flip a coin, do you have any expectations for the results? Probably not, because it's 50-50. You don't feel dumb if you are wrong. Traders expect certain results from their trades and therefore are emotionally vulnerable to the outcome. If you have a trade and it doesn't work, please do not feel dumb. You had nothing to do with it, right? It was a good bet that didn't have a good result, right? So thank you very much, Thomas Payne. And again, at Trader T Payne on Twitter. Steve says, I am looking for entry points on SSO, KMX, and BRK after the 200 break today. Yes, me too. I'm actually looking at KMX is one of the ones I looked at too. BRKB, let's take a look at that one. I'll mark that. Okay. He says MNST. Oh, monster. Has a 10 EMA, 50 EMA cross, but I think there is no number of triggers, although 50 trades. Is it considered valid test? I don't know. Well, let's look at the test. MNST. Yeah, I don't have it on here, Bing He. You can see it does not allow me to back test it, so it's not one they have numbers on. Deanne says, if your strategy performs poorly live, it's probably because you're taking trades you wouldn't have taken if you were back tested. In my humble opinion. If your strategy performs poorly live, it's probably because you're taking trades you wouldn't have taken if you were back tested. Maybe, but on the other hand, it could, it might perform poorly just in that little time frame that it worked, right? I mean, you can have a great back test that doesn't work every single time. Bing He says, MA crossover need to check the equity curve for an uptrend to see if still working recently. Is that correct? Moving average crossovers need to check the equity curve for an uptrend to see if it is still working recently. Is this correct? Yeah, I don't think I can comment on that. I mean, having a upward sloping trend is good for sure, but I've seen crossovers and downtrends that have worked fantastic also. Yeah, I don't think I can get behind that statement. I mean, it sounds good, but I'd have to think that through a little bit more. Steve Burr says 20 years is a good backtesting period for a moving average as it covers all types of markets. Oh, thank you, Steve. That is good. Did you hear that, Bing He? Okay. Well, let's take a look at current positions here. All right, so I'm already out of SPY, going to be buying that again today. SSO looks pretty dang good, pretty good. So pretty nice strong move here above the 200-day. My initial entry, or my initial profit target, will be the 50 RSI, which is here. My secondary profit target would be the 50-day moving average, and then the way I scale out my ultimate profit target, I'd have to move that down a little bit right to about there. So it does look likely that I will be taking SSO at the end of the day. Okay, so I have marked a couple of potentials here that I'd like to take a look at. Here's Boeing. We did go under 30, over 30 today, but I'll tell you, I don't like it. You see the big bar yesterday? You see how we had the big bar down? Whenever you have a bar that's larger than 1 ATR on the way down, that's very bearish. It's not surprising to have a rally back to halfway of the bar before you head back down. And you see how that's almost exactly what happened? We had the big down bar. We rallied, but from a Fibonacci 50% standpoint, that's exactly where it rejected it and went back down. It is under 30, over 30, but I'm going to pass on this trade because of the rejection to the upside of the previous day's large bar to the downside, the 50%. So that's off the table. Berkshire Hathaway. You know, same kind of pattern with everything else. We had this V, we came up, it got sold into, now we have a higher low V2, I'm sorry, V2. We have a higher low break back above the 200-day moving average. You know, here's the thing. So I'm looking at taking SSO again. You know, Berkshire Hathaway and SSO, in my opinion, are going to do exactly the same thing. I mean, if you look at the two charts, they're almost exactly the same, right? So I think I'm probably, just for simplicity, I think I'm probably just going to stick with the SSO. I think it has a little more, well, let's take a look again. We're at 46 RSI. And on SSO, we're at 41. So I like the lower RSI a little bit better than I do on Berkshire. So Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs also went under 30, over 30. A little bit better than Boeing. Yesterday we had the big down bar. It is now above halfway of that. That is definitely more bullish. But as I said at the beginning of the show, I want to be very aware of getting caught up in this big move. Yes, I want to participate in it, but I want to be aware of my of the account heat and correlation and things like that. You know, if I take Berkshire and I take Goldman and I take SSO, I'm either going to have a great day if it goes up or a horrible day on each if it goes down. So I definitely want to really factor in correlation right now. And, you know, if I add to my SSO, which looks like very likely I will, you know, I'm still diversified on 500 companies. I also like, see how we painted the green arrow? That means the day before that we had a high. Yesterday we went up and then down below it. That painted this, but now today has gone above that first day. So this is a bearish pattern that immediately reversed with the bullish pattern. So that's what makes me like SSO. I don't think Berkshire had one. Yeah, Berkshire didn't have one. Okay, so I'm taking Goldman Sachs off the table. CarMax looks pretty good. You know, used cars. I don't have anything in the car department here at all. You know, a couple days ago it did break above the 200 and then it failed, but now we have a new group of buyers. Essentially, buyers came in here, got sold into here, went down. As it starts to go down, two things are going to happen. It's going to continue down, or a new group of buyers are going to come back in and move that baby up. And that's what happened today. So I do like CarMax. I do like CarMax for sure. Silver. You know, I have to say I do kind of like silver. Steve had a really nice trade on this when it went under 30, over 30, went up. He did get out when it rejected. He was trading AGQ, so a little different. But what I like about silver is that we had a big move up yesterday on large volume. We went from under the negative third ATR channel and under the 200 above. Today, though, you know how I was just talking about big down bars that rally to halfway and they'll find resistance? Well, here's a big up bar, which is bullish, that today came down and tested that halfway and bounced. So see, it's the opposite. So it does give me a decent risk to reward ratio here. 50 RSI, my initial profit target's here. The 50-day moving average would be my second profit target. For me, my scaling out ultimate would probably be around here. When I buy in the 40s, it's usually around the 1 ATR channel. So from here to here, potential reward. From here to here, potential risk. So I do like it, and I do like that it's held to 200. I do like that today's low held halfway of that upward bar yesterday. So, and then S&P, okay, we already know about that. Of course, I'm buying that at the end of the day. So, okay, let me get this together here. All right, so one quick run through again. Okay, SSO, I know I'm definitely keeping the half that I bought yesterday, phased out of 3. Looks like I will be adding the second half today, unless we close under the 200. If we close under the 200, I'll get rid of yesterday's half position and lock that in. But hopefully has the strength to close up here. It's another 1,000-point day, everybody. Unbelievable. I just can't believe I'm getting used to these days. If I would have told everybody a couple months ago that we were going to have 1,000-point up and down days every day for a week, everybody'd say, no way, Greg, you're hiking too much in the mountains, right? Okay. CarMax, 89.61 is the 200-day moving average. So I definitely, if it closes under that, I'm going to take a pop at it. Doesn't mean it's going to go up, but it does offer me a good risk to reward. I do like silver. You know, a quick close below the right here. We have 2 bands of support. We have the 200-day. We have the negative third ATR channel. If I'm wrong, hopefully I'll be wrong small. Although silver can be a big mover, but it is above the 200-day, so I would take a full position. And then SSL. So that's what I'm looking at. I can get Apple off the board because that was a day trade. Take that off. Boom, boom. Thoughts on Costco? Oh, good idea. I haven't looked at Costco for a long time. Mount Doji. Oh, that's... Oh, Cisco. Cisco or Costco? So here's Cisco. That's the symbol for Cisco. Let's take a look-see. Well, yesterday it went under 30. Today it went over 30. Not bad. We are painting the green triangle. 2 days ago we had a high. Yesterday we went above it. Came back down below it. Now it has... I don't know if it's going to close above. Technically, you don't have to close above, but I do like that at least painted it, did go above and under 30, over 30. So it gives you a good risk to reward ratio at the very least, Mount Doji. Okay. I have to clean up something here. I manage a couple accounts, so I have to take care of this. Okay. Perfecto. So we have about 10 minutes. Steve says, yes, being he, moving averages systems can deteriorate over time with stocks as they stop trading. Good to retest over the years to ensure the edge is still there. Good advice, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I am taking off coat number 1. Good thing I have about 3 other layers underneath. Let me just take a look real quick. Okay. I'll tell you what, I hope they get this furnace fixed. That would not be very good. I hope it's something simple. Let's take a look at other current positions. Glenn's kicking butt with his Amazon. Being he and Steve doing very nice on Nike today. XHB, being he's up 4.7%. Fantastic, my friend. Now look, if I was trading this, I'm not telling you what to do or giving you advice, but I would definitely be aware of, how things are reacting around that 100-day moving average or the 50 RSI or the 50-day moving average is what I would definitely be keeping my eyes on. Holy smokes. SSO's up 8% today. Isn't that unbelievable? Okay. CarMax not too bad, up 5%. Boy, I'm getting close to another profit target, right? 137.58. Well, I'm reloading it. I'm reloading and bringing that to a normal full position anyway, so I guess I won't mess with it. Okay. Josh says, I can't believe the furnace is broken again. Stay warm. I know, this is the 3rd time, Josh. It's the 3rd time. Thanks for keeping count. I do not like to be cold at all. It's one of my least favorite things. So hopefully they'll get this taken care of today. Up 1,100 points now. Now, earlier I said I really want to make sure, I look at each trade and go, do I really need this trade? Okay. If I look at the negatives on silver, yesterday it did reject up here, right? That's not so great. But again, today it rejected halfway of yesterday's bar, which is positive. We have a confluence of the 200-day moving average and the negative 3rd ATR channel. That is also positive. And does it offer me good risk to reward? It does, and it is outside of equities, which I also like. So all in all, I do kind of like it. And it backtests okay on off of the 200-day moving average. Okay, CarMax. Well, CarMax is very likely going to go in the direction with the rest of the markets. Let's look at the monthly. Let's come back down to the value zone. Now we're back above it. Down in the weekly, it did hold support of the 50-day. And daily, it offers a good risk to reward ratio. And technically, it's a V2. Not a great V2, but day 1, day 2 did go below. And it looks like day 3 is going to close above. So all in all, looks pretty good. Boy, I'm having a great day today on that SSO. Holy smokes. All right, we have 5 minutos. Qualcomm looked good to me. Let's take a look. Yeah, it does look good. Same pattern, under the 200, over the 200, then down below, higher low. Now we have a higher low V2 Mount Doji with the rejection of the 200-day. And we have the green triangle, which means day one had a high. Yesterday went above it, went below it. Today went above that day one, which is positive, and also tested the 200-day moving average again. The only thing you have to consider, the only thing that I would consider on oops, we have 5 minutes, okay. The only thing I would consider on Qualcomm is the risk to reward. Let's take a look where the 50 is tomorrow. Okay, just a little above that. So here's the thing, Mount Doji. Here's your 50 RSI. Doesn't mean it's going to get rejected there, but it's like there's a good chance, right? So from here to here, compared to here, it looks like it's about a 1-to-1 ratio to me, to be honest with you. Now, it also depends how you're going to approach this trade. If you're going to approach this trade and say, hey, this is a longer term position trade, I'm just staying in this baby as long as it holds above the 200, then that doesn't mean as much. But if you're looking for a 50 RSI rejection and you're right there anyway, then the risk to reward kind of differs. So if you're looking at this, you know, a totally valid way to approach this would be like, okay, I'm holding this thing unless it gets, unless it closes under the 200-day or it rejects the 70 RSI, or I'm going to hold this thing as long as it stays above the 200-day or rejects the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average approach does make sense. It's like 2-to-1, but if you're using the 50 as the 50 RSI is kind of your short-term profit rejection target, then it wouldn't make a sense. So it really kind of depends what your motivation is and how long you want to hold this trade. Does that make sense, Mount Doji? Mount Doji says, in order for me to move funds out of Robinhood, they need not to be used for 2 trading days for it to be withdrawable on the 3rd day. Ponzi or nah? Well, that's just a rule that everybody has because the trade has to settle. That's why, Mount Doji. Bing He said exited Nike. Okay, let's take Bing He off of there then. Steve is our last survivor on Nike. Okay. Two minutes, I better get to work. I would really like to wait to the very, very end to buy this, but I have to do it in multiple accounts, so I don't think I'm going to have that luxury. Okay, here we go. Okay. CarMax is bought. $90.67, and my silver is going to trigger at the end of the day. And I'm adding on the other half of my SSO position with the higher low close back above the 200-day. And we'll see where I get filled on silver. All right. Well, let's take. Okay. So So all right, so CarMax 90.67 new overnight SPY trade is 312.86, and silver SLV is 16.10, and SSO, another quarter position, is 140.25. Okay. So CarMax, silver, SPY, SSO. Okay. CarMax, silver 1610. Right there. SPY. $312.86. Move that over there like there. And SSO. I guess what I'm gonna have to do is put two entries here, 140.25. Well, that's a new one. We've never done that. Never done that. So bought half the position yesterday at 129.60. Bought the other half of the position here today at 140.25. And real quickly, just to go through the stops on these. CarMax closed below the 200-day. That will be my initial trailing, that'll be my initial stop. Rejection of the 50 RSI or the 50-day moving average will be my initial profit target. We have the 200-day below us. That's nice to have that resistance below us. Silver, initial profit target is going to be the 50 RSI or the 50-day moving average and a close below the 200-day moving average. SPY is just our overnight SPY trade. And then SSO will be a close below the 200-day moving average and the 50 RSI here or the 50-day moving average there. So that's that. Listen, if you've made any trades today, if you want to get them up on the board, just please go ahead, put them in the chat. I'll put them up there so we can watch them. Hopefully they'll do well. But before I do, just want to quickly get my daily plug out of the way. Hope it's okay with you, but I do want to let everybody know that I do offer private one-on-one coaching, teaching, and mentoring lessons in the evening time via Skype. It's a one-on-one course. The course, I think you're really going to like it. It's one-on-one, so there's a lot of personal attention. I put a lot of effort into the course because I really, really, really want my students to do well, and I really want to make sure they understand. So the course is 5 sessions. Each session somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, just depending basically upon how late you can stay up. And I teach you everything I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time trader. I've had some really great coaches, really great mentors, one of them being Stephen Burns, friend of the channel here. Obviously, I've studied one-on-one with him. I studied one-on-one with Dr. Alexander Elder, also with Carrie Lavorne and with Larry Williams. So in the course, I teach everything I've learned from all of my traders and mentors and coaches, and also things I've developed over the years. And I think you're going to like the course. I mean, kind of the format of the course is I teach the first part of the lesson. Second part of the lesson, I ask you a lot of questions, make sure you are paying attention, throw a lot of curveballs at you. make sure that you can teach it back to me. We do a lot of chart study. I have you break down the chart. What looks good here? What looks bad? What's the risk to reward ratio? What kind of setup is this? Where's our stops, profit targets, all that kind of stuff. But we do a lot of chart study. So if you're interested, please reach out to me. I do like to have a Skype call, kind of a Skype call interview with a potential new student. It's totally free, and I promise you there's no obligation to take the course at all. I hate that kind of stuff. But I do want to get a feel to see if we're a good fit for each other. And I like to know about your trading and your challenges and, what your goals are. And then, of course, you can ask me any questions. And then, if we decide, or after the call, you decide it was a good fit and I decide it was a good fit, then we can go ahead and schedule the calls. It's $1,000, but I promise you it really is worth the money. In my humble opinion, it totally is worth the money. And I think you'll be happy about it. So you can reach out to me through my email. It's in the description of this video, and then in Twitter you can send me a message on Twitter, and then if you like today's podcast or live stream, whatever we want to call it, if you're finding it helpful, I really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It does help grow the channel. A lot of people out there need help with trading, and I think coming to this channel definitely will help them. So if the more thumbs up I get, the more Google goes, okay, there's good content here, and the more it promotes it out there. So if you did like today, I really would appreciate if you could just click that little thumbs up before the end of the day. Okay, so there's the end of my little rant. Let's take a look here. Steve says, many charts are showing a 4-day pattern of higher lows and higher highs. Yes, that's good to have higher lows and higher highs, right? Means you're in an uptrend. Mount Toji says, I don't withdraw much, so I didn't know about settling funds. Good to know. Yeah, doesn't matter if it's Robinhood or anyone else. It takes a couple days to settle a trade. For Nike, my fear of losing the profit made me exit today. Yeah, I think for good trader, they will hold on since it did not have an exit signal. Profit target sometimes end up lesser profit. It's true, but a lot of us deal with that. I would be lying if I said I didn't. But that's why I like to phase out, so it does help me stay in the trades, because, you need some big wins every once in a while, in order to pay for the losses that you are definitely inevitably going to have. I wish RH was able to directly transfer to another broker. Oh, they can't? Yeah, that's a pain. Dan says, please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Yes, please hit it if you don't mind. Jackson is here. Morning all. Jackson's sleeping in again. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He was doing his mad scientist stuffs probably. Good to see you, buddy. Mount Toji says, can I get your thoughts on XLE? Pretty good, but similar to Boeing. We went under 30, over 30, which is positive, but we also had that big down bar yesterday, and I guess technically we closed above halfway of that, right? That's about halfway, right? There, probably. So, it's better that we closed above the 50% high mark of the high to low on this compared to rejecting it and closing it below. Yeah, who knows on XLE. But I don't think I would be buying it here. Jackson says, sorry for late chime in, watching the screen day. I wish I was asleep. Well, well, well. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any other trades, any other entries or exits today? Currently, I still have Glenn having Amazon. Great day, Glenn. Steve, very, very nice. And Bing He as well. I know the two of you were down on it a little bit yesterday, but it did hold that 200, right? It did hold that 200. But the clear winner here today is being he. Wait, that's not true. The clear winner was SSO, 8.28, but 4.89 here is still a huge day, but that was probably on a full position, right? So even though SSO was up 8.28%, I only had a quarter of that, so just a little over 2%. But I'm still happy. I'm still happy. 46.54. So you did hold on to that, right? And then, oh, Evan. Okay. Evan is, oh, he's up on this trade. You're up on that trade, right, Evan? Being he said, I was about to take MNST based upon 1050 EMA cross, but I don't know the stop loss to access the risk. A bit uncomfortable to use this strategy. Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, when I do crossover trades, what I really look for is how far extended above the value zone is it. And if it's too extended, I'm just not going to take it. Ooh. Well, I mean, it's certainly not extended over, but I can, I don't blame you missing out on that trade. I mean, very likely this might go up another day, then come back down, maybe try to pick it up with a higher low V1 or V2. Or if it comes back down, being he, and it doesn't close below the 10 and the 50, if it comes down to here tomorrow, then if you were in the trade from the crossover, you would still be in the trade, but you could just buy it a little bit lower. You see what I mean? That might be another way to give you a better risk to reward, because your risk, if you close below both, maybe down to here, maybe 3%, 4% on the downside. So, let's look at that on the upside. Does it make sense on the upside? Well, if we challenge highs here, it's a little better than 1-to-1, but honestly, it feels a little chasey to me at this point. But if you can get 2 or 3% lower price, now your risk reward gets really great, because now you only have like a 1% reward risk, or 1.5% with a 3 or 4% to the upside. Hope that helps, being he. Mount Doji says, XLA is just falling into an abyss, wondering when it will turn around. Yeah, I know. I mean, XLE is a little scary. I mean, yes, we've had a little bit of a bounce. The longer we could have a base, the better, because, this is definitely a lower low that got sold into. But again, it's an under 30, over 30. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, I mean, the weekly tested the -6 ATR channel, which is somewhat good. But you see the big down bar? See how we rallied up to right about half of it? I don't know. I don't think I'm convinced, but that's my opinion, which doesn't mean anything. But the under 30, over 30, at the very least, gives you a good risk to reward ratio. Mount Doji says GME was interesting to me as well. Yeah, higher low V1 back in the value zone. The only thing that I don't like about it is, yes, we went into the value zone, but we only had one down day before the V1 and V2. I'd like to have 2 days before the V1 and V2. And at 43, Kamal says, I bought MA and SLV. All right. Good. Good to have Kamal along. Okay. And MA. Oh, what did MA do today? Oh my. That's been a wild one. I bought this here, scaled out, then I had to dump it yesterday. and then back up today. What's your trading plan on this, Kamal? On MA? I have a feeling I know what it is, but I'd like to hear it from Kamal. Mantochi says, I'll be sitting on my hands the next couple of days so my funds can settle, moving to TD next week. Oh, good. Good. I've heard a lot of good things about TD Ameritrade. And I've got some good code, Mount Doji, for charts and things that Jesse wrote. Remember Jesse? That he uses. So I can share that with you, some good indicators. I can share that with you when you get set up. Jackson says, I'll have to replay to catch up. Okay. I already exited XHB. You may remove it. Okay. Jackson says, in a quick summary, Greg, how you feeling about this day? Well, I feel great. I mean, I had a great overnight SPY trade, over about 6 points on the SPY, SSO, well, actually I sold half the position, but I kept half the position, and this was up 8.29%. I added the second half on again now that we're back over. I like that we had a higher low break back above the 200. I think that's going to be stronger for the market in general. SSO is the market. So this first down and up, I don't like those V's. I don't like those lower low bounces. They tend to fail. Then if it goes back up, whole new group of buyers came in today. So we don't have to worry about these people that bought down here selling into us, because that happened yesterday. So I feel better about the market. And then I had a really nice trade on Apple also. I think I took off all the indicators, but Zach was asking me about taking the setups intraday if they still work. And I don't think you were here, but I did take this 520 crossover on the 5-minute bar on Apple, somewhere here about 296, somewhere in there. Just based upon the crossover, and I rode that all the way up to here. I got out here about 299 something, so it was about 3 points just using the 520 crossover intraday. So, really good trades. Really good trades. Big day. Good for the market in general. I mean, of course, I wish I was loaded up to the gills today, but that would be against my rules. But I'm just happy with what I have. And, we'll see how. I like CarMax. I like the risk to reward on CarMax. I like silver. We went above the 200 yesterday. We came back, but we held halfway there intraday. We closed higher than the open. Good risk to reward ratio. I like the 200-day and the negative third ATR channel and support. And I like that it's outside of equities as well, diversification a little bit. Evan says, I took a small position in SDC today. We'll exit with the close under. Okay, if you want to tell me the exact price, otherwise I will estimate. All right, that's Evan. Under 30, over 30. Did it close above the 5-day moving average, 817, 819? I like that, right? Doesn't mean a whole much, but it's cherry on top. It did close above the 5-day moving average. Has not done that since back here on February 13th. So it's a good sign. Bob says, hi, Greg. I'd love to get that TDA code as well. Fine, Bob. Send me an email. Email's in the description of my video, and I will send you the links that Jesse put together. They're really great links. You may have to, I don't know how familiar you are with TD Ameritrade, but you click on the link and then you download it, and then you import it into TD Ameritrade. I've done that with a bunch of students, but it is really good. So send me an email and I will send you the links. Dan says, Greg, I have Thinkorswim. Will you share the indicator codes with me? I will, Dan. Send me an email. It's gregory@gossettrading.com, right? It's just in the description of my video. Send me an email and I will send you those links as well. Jackson says, that's great. I'm glad taking some profits after all the big selling. Good to hear. Yeah, it's not been the easiest year, right? Every once in a while you need to give the dog a bone to keep the dog interested, right? It's been, I mean, what a couple weeks, I'll tell you what. Okay, 817 is the exact price. Oh, I had you at 821, much better at 817. Bam. I have a good friend from Sri Lanka. His name is Mel. He's my tech guy. And whenever he's working on my computer, as soon as he fixes something or does something, he goes like, bam. So I hear him over there for about an hour going, bam, bam, bam. If he doesn't say bam, then that's concerning. Andrea says, from a macro view, I do not think that energy is a good position. Well, I think the market agrees with you 100%, Andrea, because the chart's not looking so hot tamale, right? Oh, what a day. Up 1,173 points. Unbelievable that I'm getting used to 1,000-point days. KMX is even after hours. SLV's down a couple cents. Oh, SPY's down $1.14. SSO is down $1. Well, it doesn't surprise me. Hopefully we're just not going to do this up and down. Hopefully we can hold. I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't know if Steve's still out there, but if he is, did you take any positions today, Steve? Evan says, thanks for streaming today. Enjoyed it. Thank you, bud. Appreciate that. Enjoyed having you here. Jackson says, I've actually been analyzing the 2000 to 2010 period as the market was so much different to 2000 to 2020. Just to cover bases there, should there be any change? Just to cover changes, should there be any change in climate? Well, I can tell you for a fact that there's going to be a change. Not because I'm a psychic or I'm Nostradamus. It's just that markets always change. Sometimes they're trending up, sometimes they're trending down, sometimes they're moving sideways, right? So I've hedged my bets there, but things aren't always going to trend up. We're going to go through a period where it's just a sideways market. And by the way, you know, the market trends about 15% of the time and moves sideways about 85% of the time. In the last few years, hedge funds have lost a lot of money. Not trading lost a lot of money. They've lost a lot of clients because buy and hold has beat them handily and without having to pay their fees. But in my opinion, in the future, hedge funds are going to do better than buy and holders because I think we're going to go back to more of a sideways market, more of a swinging market, which is better for me, right? I underperform the market if the market's just going up and up and up. I dramatically underperform it. But when it's moving sidewards and swinging up and down, then I outperform the market. And luckily for swing traders, it moves sideways and swings more than it does go up. Zach, Greg, thanks for the rundown today and for replaying my email as well. As I said in my message, your 7 indicator video is gold. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. And by the way, in my lessons, I teach you everything that's in that video. Zach says, do you think you'll make any other videos in the future? Yeah, probably. Probably for sure. Any suggestions from anyone on a topic? Jackson says, having not traded then the Y2K through the GFC, what a period. Oh, great financial crisis. Yeah. Yes. It was a hot mess. Kamal says, thank you, Greg and all. I put my MA plan above. I don't see your MA plan. Stop loss below 100. Yeah, that's what I thought. Stop loss below 100. See how the 100 lines up kind of nicely halfway of that bar, Kamal? I like that. Gives you a very defined risk because you have 50% Fibonacci support and you have 100-day moving average support. Take 1/2 off at the 50 SMA. Okay. Ultimate profit target 1 ATR channel. Yeah, fine. I mean, you know me, right? If it rejected taking half off at the 50 is great if it holds. But if it rejected, me personally, I would get out. But that would be my trade plan. That could be different than yours. But yeah, I totally agree with that. CCK and XLU. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I could be totally wrong. This crossover could just keep on moving, but in this situation, now that we're in the value zone, this is what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking maybe for another day up, one or two, a couple days down, and then a higher low V1 would do well because the people that bought here, signs of weakness, they're going to be quick to sell again. Jackson says, totally agree, Greg. I definitely didn't want to get stars in my eyes thinking this is the market. So analyzing another period is definitely worthwhile. Yes, sir. Andrew says, I did it in Thinkorswim. It was easy and it's so helpful. Oh, good. Yeah, that's Andrea is a student of mine. And so I shared the code with her and she got it all fixed up like a wizard. Remember that in our first lesson, Andrea? You handled that like a boss for sure. And it is nice. Jesse did a great job. Dan, Greg, I remember you were an IBD subscriber. Yes, that's true. Have you any thoughts about Gil Morales or Dr. K? I'm not sure I know who you're talking about there, Dan. I was an IBD subscriber when I was like in my late teens, but that was when they delivered the newspaper to you every day and I would go through the charts. I have been a subscriber on their just regular IBD to take a look at their rankings and so forth, but I'm not sure. Is Gil Morales and Dr. K, I don't know, are they online with their trading? I'm not sure I know who that is, bud. Kamal says, Greg, where can I find the most recent podcast you did? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I forgot all about that. So I did a podcast with Steve Burns and Christopher Uhl. It was a little roundtable discussion. We talked about price action trading, and I just put it right there. There's the link for the podcast that I did with Steve and Christopher last week in case you guys want to check it out. I should have mentioned that before. I'll mention it again tomorrow. Jackson said, sorry, fast typing, but meant I didn't want to have any bias about the current market, and studying other periods back in time is really educational. Yeah, I always talk about generals always fighting the last war. If the market just was trending and trending and trending, a lot of people just adjust all their trading methodologies to only trending markets. Well, trending is going to turn to sideways. Sideways is going to turn to trending. Trending is going to turn to down markets. We've already seen it, right? We're already part of this. We have already seen that the market has changed. Just in the last couple months, we've gone from return to value buys to return to value buys to higher low V1s, V2s, and obviously in the last couple weeks to major deep dip buys. Zach said, I listened to that yesterday. Very good stuff. Oh, good. Good. All right. Well, listen, everybody, I want to leave you off with two things. One, please go out and do something nice for somebody today. Just a smile or a wave or a hello, just a nice gesture. It could make a huge difference in that person's day and the rest of their day. You may not know it, but you may save that person from losing faith in mankind just by holding the door open or something. You never know, right? And it's good for you too. It's free. Let's try to make a habit of that. If I could give you a double challenge, try to do something nice for an animal each day and try to do something for a human each day, right? Double good stuff. But seriously, you may really make a difference in that person's day, right? And somebody may do it to you one day when you need it. And secondly, before you get out of here, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, yeah, you can hit the subscribe button also. But if you haven't hit the thumbs up button and you did like it and you did find some value, I really would appreciate if you just take a half a second and do that. Greg says, as an interesting note, I was looking at 9/10/2001. I didn't realize the U.S. government lost 2.3 trillion, and the next day planes hit the Pentagon. Those records were destroyed. That is correct. That was Donald Rumsfeld that gave that discussion, right, Jackson? That's right. You know, I walked the coast of Oregon one summer, and I know the day I got back because I got back on 2010, September 10th, 2001. I got back one day before that happened. I woke up the next morning and watched it all. All right, everybody. Hopefully my heater guy's going to get here. I really hope he is. But I'm glad he didn't come during the podcast. So have a good rest of your day, everybody. Really good day today. Be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we went down 500 points tomorrow, right? We had a 1,000-point up day. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a retracement to 50% of this day, right? Wouldn't surprise me. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me. So thanks again. Good trading, everybody. And have a great rest of your day. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Okay. Take care now. Bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.